there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to another day of the best of 30 days of sketches. Today's sketch comes from Sketchabilities, and I am doing another embellishment cluster. So I will go ahead and put you over to me drawing out what I'm going to do. Okay, so today is day 18. This is the sketch. And I am going to shrink it down to be some layered papers. It looks like there's like a little doily there. I might add a little vellum underneath because there's a lot of layering here. This looks like a bit of like a little doily here and a doily there. So I might add something like that. And then there's this date piece here. So I might add a little bit of something like that. It does have some stitching and some notebook edged paper, so we will see. It looks like I'm gonna do some layering and that kind of stuff. Maybe a little bit of hand stitching or stamped stitching. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw it and see what we come up with. Or attempt to draw it anyway. My papers are all over. Okay, so we've got the top layer. And then it's got another layer kind of behind it. It's kind of off kilter. And then a larger layer and another larger layer, which is a bit off kilter. Something like that. It's got a little doily here, a doily there, type of deal. Actually, it's got some notebook edged paper here, something circular here, and this should be circular, and then it does have some stitching and maybe some label-y type of things right in this area, because you guys know I love labels. I do love them. So something like that. I'm going to disregard all of the drippiness. I might do a little bit of mixed media on this paper. We'll see. So I pulled out some of the Vicki Boutin Sweet Rush paper, and I decided I was going to use this yellow tag as my very top layer. I'm going to fussy cut it out, which, I mean, is very simple with a tag because it's all straight lines, at least this type of a tag. And I thought it would be a really good replacement for that top square that is on the sketch. So I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to pull out a bunch of scrap paper from Vicki Boutin's color study collection, because I think that Sweet Rush and color study pair super well together. They both have those really bright saturated colors, and that makes me super happy, so I thought that would be a good thing to use. Now this black and white grid paper is from Felicity Jane. It is the back side of one of the other side's like aqua, and it has hearts on it, but I thought it would work well for this as well. It's very neutral, but it has interest to it. This die that I'm using, I want to say it's a dinky die from X-Cut or Do Crafts, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But it cuts out this lovely little tiny looking doily. I don't even know that it's 2 inches across. It's pretty small, but I really like it because it's very, because of the size of it. I'm not super big into the big doilies, but I do use them occasionally, and I just think this is like the perfect size to go with that tag that I've got going. So, and I also did not worry about cutting out a full piece of it. So you can see the one at the bottom of the screen is not a full. It didn't cut out the full thing because it was scrap paper. One of the edges is missing off of it, but that doesn't really matter because it's getting tucked under. I also pulled out some black scrap paper and used my notebook edge punch to punch some notebook edges, and then I just tore it in half and kind of crinkled them up a little bit and ripped a little bit of it off to make it look a little more distressed than it originally was. So I'm just kind of playing with the placement of where I want these. I remembered that I had said I might bring some vellum into it, but I decided to use a glassine bag instead, and I thought that was a good way to add some more layers, but they are still semi-transparent. So you don't get quite as much transparency as you do with vellum, and especially since I left the glassine bag as 2 layers, but you can still see the grid through it, and so I really liked that. But I didn't want the edge of the black showing through it, so I put the black notebook edge right underneath the tag, and I am also attaching the little pieces of the, I'm going to call them doilies, to the back of the tag, and then I'm going to use the glassine bag as a layer, and then I will put that right on top of the black grid. I did leave the black grid paper as big as possible until I decided where everything needed to be cut. I wasn't sure how big my layers were going to get at the time, so I left that for like the last piece to be cut. As you saw there, I did also add some texture by using my edge distressor, and I just got that off of Amazon. My other edge distressor, I lost it and I cannot find it, so I decided to go ahead and just purchase a new one on Amazon. They're kind of hard to find these days, or harder to find than back when I originally got mine. So Amazon did the trick, and they only had a couple options on there where I was surprised. So now I'm kind of looking at the flowers and trying to figure out what I want to add. And I go to the patterned papers because I know I bought some patterned papers to add, to be able to fussy cut. I also do have the Sweet Rush paper pad, and so for the pieces that I am fussy cutting, I'm pulling those out of the paper pad because I know that the saturation level in the paper pad may be slightly different than the individual sheets. So if I want to do a double page layout, I want to make sure that I have 2 individual sheets rather than one from the paper pad and one from the individual sheets, because sometimes the saturation level is a little bit different, and your navy blues won't be as crisp or as dark, or even your pinks or whatever color, your yellow might not be quite as vibrant. So far they are looking really good. I did pull out both just to kind of check them, and it was very hard to tell the difference, but I've had that issue in the past. So when I do cut things, reserve a piece to be a cut apart, I usually try and pull from the paper pad. Unless that's the only place I have 2 sheets, then I will pull from the individual sheet. So whichever one I have the least amount of, that's what I usually cut up into or a fussy cut for different embellishments. So I pulled the 2 different pieces of paper. I'm going to use that pink, orange, and yellow flower, and then the aqua and yellow flower to be my embellishments on this particular little embellishment that I'm making. I totally forgot about the stitching when I made it, and honestly, I don't think it really needs it. So I decided to just go ahead and forego the stitching. I could have gone back after the fact because the stitching would have been added last anyway, but I decided not to do that because I was really happy with the way that it turned out. So I decided just to let it go and don't worry about it and just move on because it came out really cute anyway. So I'm just about finished with it. The close-ups are going to be coming up in just a few moments here. So don't forget, there is a hop going on. There are a bunch of people playing along. Most people are making layouts. They're not making embellishments. I think MK and I might be the only ones making embellishments out of some of our layouts. It's kind of something we decided to do together. And she kind of challenged me to do it because it's not something that I normally do. And I'm really happy that she did because it's been a lot of fun. So this is the finished embellishment. I will be using it on a page later in the month. So come back and check that out. And check out the Facebook group for 30 days. The links are down below if you are interested in checking those out. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me today. If you have questions or comments, as always, you can leave those down below. I will get back to you as quickly as I can. I appreciate your time and that you chose to spend it with me. See you guys again tomorrow. Bye-bye.